You said last week that you have the Epstein files on your desk. When can we see them, and what's taking so long to release them?
Tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released.
As phase 1 of the Epstein files were released to a few conservative influencers, even people on the right were skeptical as to why they received the documents and not the general public. Curious to how a boxing reporter and Miss Universe judge managed to get this access.
Look at what we got today. The Epstein files, baby. Let's make America safe again.
But at least on-the-street journalists like Savannah Hernandez also received the binder.
One of those Epstein file binders. Now, I want to clear something up immediately and state that nobody from the Trump admin gave us these binders and said, you guys are going to be the ones responsible for disseminating this information. They actually told us that there's going to be a press conference at any moment now.
But who received the binders isn't the real issue here. It's the fact that the binders are mainly filled with redacted pages, many of which we have already seen the unredacted versions of, as I myself added the blur for the phone numbers. But when these influencers shared the pages on their live streams, nobody could even see what was on the pages, as many of them were mainly blocks of omitted texts that tell us nothing. As pretty much everything top to bottom about this was terrible, as I believe it was the FBI Director Kash Patel or possibly Attorney General Pam Bondi that said they'd release those files on day 1. Or maybe it was both of them, but she said they were on her desk and they definitely didn't get released. And every day that went by just seems like they're buying time. Not necessarily Bondi or Kash, but whoever's not providing them with the full files available. And we'll go more into that in a minute. But we also have to unpack how these influencers receive the files instead of just uploading a full PDF for the public to sift through. As yes, the influencer photo shoot is a bad look, but apparently the press wasn't there for them. They were already out there waiting to snag some photos of the UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and just happened to run into the recipients of the files. Still doesn't make up for the fact that the PDF wasn't directly uploaded, and what makes this pretty much a million times worse is the official Republican House Judiciary account on Twitter posts a link to the alleged Epstein files that linked to a URL shortener that shows an ad at the bottom that eventually links you to be rickrolled on YouTube. People want answers and, more importantly, prosecutions, and all they received were photo shoots from some podcasters and being trolled by official government accounts. This is not what the people voted for, but I guess it's just a nice reminder that the Republicans, by and large, are garbage. Now, the one thing I do want to acknowledge is how influencers receiving this document isn't all a bad thing. I believe the precedence the White House is trying to create here is no longer does the public have to rely on mainstream media outlets like Fox and CNN, as I really wish I could pull up those two clips and let me know in the comments if you know where I can find them, but one was a CNN or MSNBC newscaster saying, only members of the media can look at these leaked documents. If you at home see them, it's breaking the law. And the other clip was someone on a network saying, it's the news media's job to decipher the truth for our viewers. That type of pompous reporting as if they are the arbiters of reality, that needs to end. And making CNN and Fox rely on getting their information from accounts like Sav Says and Libs a TikTok first is actually a good thing in my book. It's just not a good look when the AG says, the Epstein files will finally be released tomorrow. Then tomorrow comes around, and all we got was a photo shoot of some people holding up some binders, waiting several more hours, and finding out there's nothing inside them. This all reminds me of 2020 when Trump had yet to concede the election, and his attorneys kept saying, we're gonna unleash the kraken of lawsuits that'll change everything. Nothing came out, then another attorney said, oh, now we have the Kraken on steroids, and every time they repeated the same game, it turned out to be a huge nothing burger. And now they release the Epstein Files Episode 1, or Phase 1, like there's some movie studio running out of source material, so they split the last book into several movies, as nothing about this says transparency. It just sounds like somebody on the back end is buying time to control the story. As the AG did write a letter to the FBI director, informing Kash that she had not received all the information available, demanding by tomorrow she receives all the records, documents, audio, and video recordings. and also that he conduct an investigation into who was holding up the release of these documents, wanting a report on the findings in 14 days. As honestly, I feel like if she just went on TV and aired out all this dirty laundry, that would have been infinitely better than the media fiasco we received, as that letter isn't an answer, but at least it's transparency, and hopefully we'll finally start to see it. But the more nonsense we receive like today's, the less I believe we ever will. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, make sure you're subscribed so you can stay updated, and go check out the video on how panicked California's governor is over his incoming Doge investigation.